Welcome to Gotta Run with Will. My name is Evan Wood, and I'm your host today. I'm very excited to introduce you to our two guests who participated in this year's FootLocker 5-Borough Challenge at the New York City Marathon, a race within the race between 5 inspiring runners, each selected to represent their home borough. Please welcome Pamela Passarello, who represented my home borough of Manhattan, and Stephen Andrews, this year's FootLocker 5-Borough Challenge champion, representing Brooklyn.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Our pleasure. So, for those who didn't have a chance to follow the FootLocker 5-Borough Challenge this year, could each of you tell us a little bit about how you got into running and how you found out about the FootLocker 5-Borough Challenge? We can start with Pamela.
Sure. I started running about 10 years ago in 2008 as just a healthy way to stay active as a young attorney in Manhattan. And since then, I've run about 8 marathons. I would say about 50 to 75-ish half marathons.
50 to 70 half marathons.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I've done 3 New York City triathlons. So I guess about 10 years ago, I just started running, and I guess I never really stopped as a healthy outlet initially and to raise funds initially for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society with Team in Training. And then I went on to coach with the American Cancer Society and then raise funds for Fred's team with Memorial Sloan Kettering. And then I joined my triathlon group, Empire Triathlon. So I started training with them this year for the triathlon in July. And then I just stuck with them throughout the year, and a bunch of us trained for the marathon together. So that was very helpful and inspiring group to train with. The Manhattan community is incredible, and for the FootLocker Challenge, I apply every year. I never get chosen, so this year I applied, and I was thrilled to find out that I was chosen as the Manhattan representative.
Well, I can't think of anyone more qualified, having run 50, 70 half marathons. I mean, that is a very impressive amount.
Thank you.
Of running and racing.
It was a lot of fun, too, just like, you know, the feeling of coming off the bridge, of all of Manhattan cheering for you on both sides, and it's at that point where you leave your friends at the half marathon point and we all race against each other. But I was by myself entering Manhattan and I thought my heart was going to explode out of my chest. What an experience. I think I waved to everyone the entire way on both sides, from the beginning to the middle to the finish line even. I was waving at all the crowd even. So it was crazy, exhilarating experience.
Amazing.
So I was excited to be chosen as the Manhattan representative.
And Stephen, speaking of leaving everyone behind in the dust, this year, you won the FootLocker 5-Borough Challenge representing Brooklyn.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about our champion this year.
Woohoo!
So I started running back in 2010. So you are much more of a runner than I am. You have more experience than I do. As a way to help maintain and to lose weight. I used to be over 200 pounds. And so it was one avenue that I went through to maintain my weight. I ran my first marathon back in 2014, the New York City Marathon, obviously, which was awesome. And this year, I ran it for the 5th time and my 11th marathon overall. I've always heard of the FootLocker 5-Borough Challenge, and I've been interested in running it. And I was like, maybe one year I'll give it a try. Maybe someone would like to hear my story. And Evan and I have a secret that we belong to a Facebook group called New York City Marathon Runners, which I'll add you to.
Thank you.
And so our moderator of that group, Christine Cook, she reminded people, you know, the deadline's coming up to apply for this. And I totally forgot about it. So I'm like, okay, I will apply. And so the rest was history. I got the call. We did the interviews. I was selected to run for Brooklyn. And then we did some runs together for training, the 20-mile run with my running group, Frontrunners New York. And then we had that surreal experience on marathon day.
We got to jump on the bridge,
We got to jump on the bridge.
Nice. The classic
everybody
everyone
that
in
picture.
midair photo where everyone jumps. We did that too. I don't know if we were as successful as you guys were.
One shot, right?
One shot, yep.
Wow. It definitely took at least a dozen for us. So congratulations on that alone.
Thank you.
People ask me, they're like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm like, you want to see a picture? I'm like, that's very exciting.
That's great. What a beautiful day you guys had. The weather was the best it's been at the New York City Marathon in years. I know many people ran personal bests. And it was just a gorgeous day. And I can't imagine how much fun it must have been, especially going through Brooklyn, basically alone, virtually getting all of the attention and broke on
I knew you were going to win then.
and those crowds, even by the time you get to Manhattan, not that many runners, because for those who don't know, you start an hour before the first wave. You're really by yourselves, basically. for the first, I want to say 10 miles or so.
Yeah. I think the women pros passed us at
Yeah,
mile
it was
8.
about mile 8. It was surreal watching
Yeah.
them run by
was like,
us because I thought they were running a 5K with the speed they
know,
were
right?
going, and I'm like, holy crap. It was surreal.
Yeah, it was quick.
It was very quick. We knew they were coming because we heard the sirens and the helicopters. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think the women are coming. And
They are
Yeah.
very, very fast. That's great.
Wow.
So you mentioned the New York City Marathon Facebook group. I have to let out another thing, another secret is that it's not so secret, is that you have quite a reputation in that group. And I feel like there are a lot of people in that Facebook group who would be very upset if they found out that the two of us, and I promised myself I wouldn't make this about me, but that the two of us are together in this room because we both had the fortune of being featured in the New York City Marathon's ad campaign.
yes.
And this year, your photo was featured at the finish line.
And everywhere else.
And everywhere else.
On the
Subways, buses.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Like, you see it once, you see it twice, like, oh, there's my picture. But to be constantly reminded about it every day by your friends and your neighbors and just strangers, like, that's you. And I'm like, yeah, it was weird.
And still on the apps. He's everywhere still.
It's still there. They're
Still
using,
there.
it's a picture from last year's marathon, the 2017 marathon. And they're using it now to promote next year's marathon. So this is just a weird experience for me.
I have to say, I mean, I really think that your photo is a wonderful representation of what makes the New York City Marathon special and the kind of energy that people bring to the race, the runners, the spectators.
Yeah.
There's no feeling quite like crossing the finish line. Pamela, you are a corporate attorney.
Yes,
That is a very high-speed career.
it is.
It's, so running marathons and running as many marathons and half marathons as you have, that takes a lot of dedication and it takes a lot of sheer time to put into training, to race. How do you do it? How do you manage the time?
I would say it's just a balance, really, because it's a lot of hours at work, obviously, but like for training during the week, it's kind of a good way to get out and kind of clear your mind. I think it allows me to be a better attorney at the end of the day for my clients and to make better decisions. I'm in-house counsel at American Express on the global commercial payments team. So I think it allows me to kind of have that time and that clarity in a sense. And then on the weekends, I think it's a great, for the last like 10 years from my experience, I think it just allows you to have that like healthy outlet during the weekend. It puts you on a better schedule and you just kind of really get used to it over years and years and years. Of not like if you have plans obviously going out, but like going to bed early on a Friday night and like really looking forward to seeing your running or your biking friends on Saturday morning in the Manhattan community, all in the morning in Central Park on a Saturday or Sunday. Like it just becomes like a crazy habit that you really like look forward to. And I think at the end of the day, it's about balance. And I think it allows me to be a better attorney, a better person at the end of the day. I think making decisions generally in life and as a corporate attorney.
I think a lot of people who work in similar fields, and also I work in filmmaking, and I think people in the arts would also agree that running can serve this really great purpose of relieving stress, but also making you feel that you've accomplished a great deal in your personal life and your personal pursuits in a way that benefits your profession.
It helps me make decisions, I would say, as well. Like if you're like faced, whether it's like personal, professional, and we were talking about this in the FootLocker interviews when we were leading up to the marathon, just helping you make better decisions at the end of the day and solve problems and kind of be there for friends, family, and clients as well.
I think it's really inspiring for people to know that someone who runs as much as you do, is still doing what they do every day, and a pretty serious, fast-paced job at that. So I think that that's really cool. Stephen, you've really come a long way. I mean, losing 50 pounds is a big goal, and you managed to achieve it, and not just achieve it, but you've thrived through running.
Yes.
And you have not just set an example for others that's really inspiring, and it makes it feel like something that's reachable for many people who are struggling to manage their weight.
Yes.
But you've also gone and taken it to, I feel, another level of joy, of excitement. It's not a chore. It's not something that you have to do to fill a checkbox or to reach a number goal. This is something fun. I mean, you can see it in the pictures. It's something that you genuinely enjoy doing.
Yes,
It's not
yes.
like, oh, exercise, this thing I have to do. Tell
I
us,
actually feel crappy when I don't run.
you feel crappy when you run?
When I don't
When
run.
you don't run?
Yeah.
Like,
Interesting.
like I want to go for a run, but it's raining. I was like, I'm going to miss my run today.
Huh.
And I feel like, oh, great.
So how did you figure out that running was this enjoyable activity for you? I mean, how did it really become what it is for you today?
When I first started going through the weight loss process, I used to do Weight Watchers. And so with Watchers, you get amount of points that you get per day for, the amount of points you have for consuming. And so once you go with those points, you stop. But with Weight Watchers, if you do activities, you get extra points and therefore you can consume more. And so my activity used to be walking on the treadmill.
Yeah, you get more activities, more
And
points.
so you walk fast, you get those extra points. Hey, you can have another slice of pizza. And so one weekend, my partner and I are visiting his sister and her family up in the Hudson Valley. And you have a treadmill. I'm going to go on your treadmill and do my walk, which I'm doing every day. And she says, no, we're going to go walk outside. Fine, it's the Hudson Valley. We go walk in the forest or whatever. And so we're having a nice brisk walk and we get to the top of the street and she's like, let's just run back to the house. I'm like, I don't run. My chest hurts. I can't breathe. And she's like, no, let's just. So I did. And I said, hey, I don't feel bad. And so the next day when I went to the gym, I'm doing my walk and I say, let me try running for a minute. So I ran for a minute, didn't feel bad, went back to walking and said, try for 2 minutes. So over time, I built it up and was like, hey, I can run for 10 minutes and I don't feel bad. And that's how I started running. I don't walk on the treadmill. I don't run on the treadmill. I run outside now. And now it's just like a passion of mine.
I think that's why we all got along so well too.
Yeah.
Just we all were like, and made it part of our lives as opposed to like a goal,
It's
like a
not a
one-time
chore.
goal.
Yeah.
And we all just enjoyed it so much. And I think like meeting all the four of us,
Yeah.
the four of you guys, and knowing myself, that you just see the joy in their personalities. And I think that's why we all got along so well.
One of the beautiful things about the FootLocker 5 Borough Challenge is you get to meet these other runners who are representing the other
Yes.
boroughs. And they do a very good job of selecting very different types of people with different stories. And I think that it's a wonderful little representation of what makes the New York City Marathon as a whole so special.
Right.
You get to meet people who have overcome all kinds of challenges, who come from all different walks of life. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's like? Having this experience of meeting other runners, did you learn something new from someone about something that they had overcome or something they were currently dealing with?
I would say when we were doing the actual interviews,
That's when we really
and
got
the
to know
photo
each other.
shoot, and I actually heard the stories for the first time. I was like, okay, why did you pick me?
I think we all thought that.
Like, they've been through a lot. All I did was lose some weight.
Very
Why did you
modest
pick
of
me?
you.
No,
Yeah, and they told me too. They were like, "You're the only one with like a positive story that like you've," because it's all about this challenge. And I said to John, I was like, "Listen, I'm like I've dealt with so many challenges throughout my life in the last 10 years, and running has always been that constant to help you overcome it. Whether
Yeah.
it's changing jobs or relationships or new adventures in life or
Yeah.
death or sickness. Like everyone kind of faces these things at all different parts of their life, and running just kind of was that overall theme throughout all of them of kind of dealing with it. So I said that's my challenge, and I think that kind of resonated. And then the other guys too, they had pretty inspiring stories and
inspiring and serious stories.
yeah.
Have you stayed in touch since the marathon?
Oh, we have chat groups.
We're-
we have like
we're-
everything
we have a
going on.
WhatsApp chat group going
Yeah,
on. So,
text messages, emails.
Great. So lasting
We actually-
friendships came out of it.
We signed up for a race this weekend together, but there was a lot of weather issues, and so we're going to do another
Ted Corbett.
race in 2018. I'll run them together, and
Nice.
trying to keep it going.
Funny
Very
story about that is that I told the guys, you guys should do the lottery to get into Chicago
This is a good
Marathon
one.
because it's amazing and everyone from New York always gets in. And so we all signed up for the lottery and they all got in and I didn't.
Oh no.
Yes. No, I don't want to. Like I want to do it. Yes.
So is the
And I'm
team
like-
going to collectively
It's
not
going to be
run?
a 4-borough challenge in Chicago.
This way, Stephen can't win this one. You know.
Chicago Marathon, we're looking at you.
You can run with my picture.
That's great. So clearly, there are no plans to stop running. I mean, you guys got to participate in this really fantastic event.
Yes.
And it's going to be hard to top that, I have to say. When you get the royal treatment,
What we're going to do.
the following year, you know, it's not going to be the same. You are just another
All
runner.
these people around.
But like, where's
Yes,
my
I
police
try to
escort?
run.
I can't go without it.
Will you be running the New York City Marathon again next year?
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
9+1 is completed.
Yeah, me too.
Congratulations.
And I'm going to campaign to be like the face of it, like you two. I'm like undersold here.
Very nice.
2019, here we come.
Get Pamela on a poster, please.
We have to have the picture already, so it's not an inspiring one like yours.
Going back to the running community as a whole, I really wonder what you guys think about not just the New York City Marathon specifically, but running in general, the way that it has done what it has done for you guys, being a positive influence in your life. Maybe it started out as a way to reach a goal. Maybe it's just always sort of been a presence activity in your life that's helped you keep balance and deal with daily stresses. Do you think that this running boom around the world, what do you think the rest of the world could learn by looking inside the running community? Those who don't run, what can they learn from seeing all of these inspiring stories that seem to be made possible by running?
I want to say to them that the running community is a huge representation of the world. We're all not elites. We're all not turtles. You know, everyone's like, you know, you have your own speed, you can do this, you can do that. But we're all runners. You know, when we run a race, we all get the same medal regardless of time. We're there to support each other. So, like this year with the doctor, with the lady that passed out during the marathon, that was a very inspiring story.
That's what it's all
Right.
about.
For those who
We're a
didn't hear
community.
the story,
Yeah.
basically there was someone who had a medical emergency.
A heart attack.
It was a heart attack,
Yeah.
a very life-threatening heart attack, and a doctor happened to be also running the marathon alongside her, and he happened to know what to do to take care of her, and she survived.
Yeah.
And I think there was a very nice, they met
They
afterwards.
reconnected
They did.
afterwards.
Oh,
It's such a
gosh,
nice
like,
thing.
It's
I
a
almost
nice thing.
cried when I
Yeah.
saw that.
It's crazy.
I got goosebumps watching it.
So it's wonderful to see these sorts of things happen. You get the impression that some of these stories would only be made possible because the running community has this synergy of people seeing other people doing inspiring things that leads them to do inspiring things of their own.
I think there's a quote too. It's like, if you ever need to be inspired, go outside and watch a marathon. Yeah, and I think again, if you ever want to be inspired, go to Central Park anytime during the weekend. Everyone knows each other. Everyone's waving to each other. And I think the five of us are a really good example as well. We never knew each other. We both run multiple marathons, and we all become really good friends. And we would never have known each other before unless this experience happened, which is kind of really inspiring. So I think that says a lot about the community itself, about five strangers just coming together and developing a friendship based on running, but also having a lot else in common that they never would have discovered otherwise.
It's very true. I think it's a very good point.
Also, thank you to FootLocker for giving us
I
the
know.
opportunity, because without
so
them, this
lucky.
would never have happened. We'd not met each other.
Yeah.
So,
Right, and think of all the other people. Like you said, it's not just the five people that FootLocker chooses, but it's all these other people.
Yeah.
In a way, it's really eye-opening. You know, this experience has been eye-opening, so that you know you'll meet other people who run the marathon, and they're all running for very important causes, and they're all motivated by something.
Yeah.
I would also say just to talk to everyone around you too in New York. Like I was telling a story this weekend to a friend that when you're in the suburbs, everyone looks at all the runners when you pass by and they say, good morning, good morning, good
Yes.
morning. And then in Manhattan, like unless you know each other, you know, it's Manhattan. So you're just like,
It's very different. You're just
it's the same in Brooklyn
tunnel
too.
vision.
You're like
Yes.
this.
but like talk to the other runners, because people are raising funds for all these different charities, and we
Yes.
all have so much in common that we never would know just based on like just getting our runs in. So I would advise people to say hello, talk to your neighbors, whether they're in your running group or not. Say hello in Central Park. You know, it's not going to kill you to smile, as I like to say. You know, so that's another good thing.
And everyone has their own story to tell.
Yeah,
Like, you
learn
know,
it.
I run because it helped me lose weight. Some may be running because, they're battling cancer. You never know what someone's story is behind their running. So,
Or who needs your strength when you have it to give it.
Exactly. I think that puts it very, very nicely.
Yeah.
So, Pamela, you run for very many important causes. How did you get involved with Team in Training or the American Cancer Society? Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with them and became a coach with them?
Yes, sure. My sister was I think a coach or a mentor at that time for Team in Training. I think she coached for the marathon for a while, and then she coached for the triathlon as well. So she was running marathons, doing triathlons, and I think in 2008, I'm like, hey, I want to do that. She's like, no, you have to take it seriously. If you're going to do it, do it. I'm like, I went to a meeting. I signed up for Rock and Roll Phoenix. So my sister kind of inspired me to do it. And then I started running with Team in Training at that point, and I completed the Phoenix Rock and Roll Marathon in 2008 with them. I ended up with bronchitis day of course.
Wow.
I flew across the country. My sister's like, she was with me. She ran my first few marathons with me. She's like, you don't have to do the full. You could do the half. It'll be just as good. I'm like, I just raised thousands of dollars for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. I trained for my first marathon to prove to myself that I could do this. I go, I'm doing the full marathon. So with bronchitis, I completed my first marathon. So I'm like, anything after that will be not as terrible.
Yeah.
And then I stuck with Team in Training for a while, and I mentored there for a little bit. I did a few New York City triathlons with them. And then I made a lot of, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer a few years back. So I wanted to raise money for a cancer organization. So I joined American Cancer Society. I think I ran a few New York City half marathons with them. I coached for the half marathon. I've coached for the New York City Marathon with them, raising funds as well. And then she was specifically then being treated a few years after that at Memorial Sloan Kettering. So I wanted to specifically raise awareness, raise funds for Memorial Sloan. So I joined Fred's team, and I raced with them for a little bit. And each of these groups, it's funny looking back on it, just the evolution of like over the years of all the different people I've met through like the New York City Marathon, through Team in Training, through Fred's team, through American Cancer Society. It's all very segmented groups and like different groups for different causes in Manhattan and beyond. But you make so many friends over the years that looking back now, I have all these different connections and friends in all these different areas of my life that it's been really special. And now I train with Empire Triathlon to kind of keep me going on the triathlon area for the New York City Tri during the summer. And then they do all different races for beginners, and there's a club that I belong to as well with them now. But I try to stay involved in all the other causes as well, and I'm always looking for different organizations.
Very, very impressive how many organizations you've been involved with, and triathlons. As soon as you said triathlons, my heart just dropped because
I was never a swimmer. I had to learn how to swim for this, and my team's very advanced and skilled on the bike, and I try to keep up. I think I do an okay job. And I'm more on like the running end, so that's where I'm like, I can't be bad if I'm like, I did the New York City Marathon, so they let me stay, which is good.
So, Stephen, triathlons, what do you think?
I don't swim. So not
we could do the
soon.
borough thing next year, all of us.
I have to learn to swim.
To be continued with that one. Now, Stephen, you're involved with Frontrunners New York. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Frontrunners New York is the largest LGBT multi-sport club in the United States, New York chapter. And so I joined the club so I could be part of a running community that is part of my life. I am an openly gay man. And I do a lot of long runs with them, but they are also involved in doing training and swimming, triathlons, speed work. So I did a lot of training with them last year, which is when the picture happened. So I give a lot of kudos to Frontrunners for that happening. I love running with those guys.
It's a great organization.
It's a great organization. We did the 20-miler trainer with them.
What's it called, the Blue Line?
It's called the Blue Line Run.
It was a lot of fun.
And so it's an annual thing that Frontrunners New York does. It's called the Blue Line Run, where we actually run the last 20 miles of the New York City Marathon course. And so that was a training run that the 5 of us did together.
We made a lot of friends there, too.
And we made a lot of friends there, too. Yep. And it was very cold.
Nice. So very, very important causes both of you run for.
And even one other cause, Challenge Athletes Foundation, my triathlon group raises a lot of money for them as well, which is another amazing cause. So there's just so many causes to get involved in, whether you're in New York City, Manhattan, elsewhere, and it's good to keep awareness and
And there are so many
funds,
other
yeah.
causes that you become aware of just through
Just
running these events. And some of these races are sponsored by really important charities. I know Frontrunners has their race every year with
The
New York
Pride
Road
Run.
Runners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pride Run.
St.
always
Jude's
love
has a
that.
marathon, which is really cool in Nashville.
I have a
Yeah.
couple of friends who've
Yeah.
run down there. Yeah. So it's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful way for me to get involved with the marathon. I got involved through my charity, Team IBD Kids, which is a Crohn's charity. So it's always wonderful to see other runners running for charities and getting important work done.
Yeah.
Do you have any last words of wisdom for anyone out there who is just getting into running, trying to start their weight loss regimen, is balancing a hard job, trying to find something to help them get through what they're facing in life?
I would say make it a lifestyle, and also take that pause during the day, and believe in yourself. If you could run like a mile, you could run a marathon as well. It's not the speed; it's kind of the conviction to just do it. Like it seems overwhelming when you like go into it, but you trust the training. You know, you put the work into it, and also just make it a lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's kind of something that it's really healthy to have in your life, to create balance no matter what your career is. And it makes you a better person at the end of the day. So I'd really recommend it to everybody.
Nice. Stephen?
It didn't happen overnight. You know, just like Rome was not built in a day. I started out running to lose weight and started running a little race here, a little race there. It took me 4 years to actually say, I'm going to run a marathon. And 4 years past that, I've done 11. And even though I'm not training for a marathon, I still go out every morning and get my miles in. It becomes part of your lifestyle. And so if I can do it, anyone could do it. And so if I can inspire one person who is struggling because they have issues with their weight, Stephen Andrews will help you. Like, reach out to me.
Stevie Wonderful.
And it doesn't even
Wonderful.
it doesn't need to be a marathon. Just
It
go
doesn't need to be a
outside
marathon.
and get air and just be outside and enjoy nature.
Even if it's a brisk walk.
I always say one day I won't be able to do this, and today is not that day. So
I will run the New York City Marathon until I am no longer physically able
I say
to.
that all the time too.
I said it, yep.
One year I didn't do it, and that did not go well. I was watching everyone like, I have to do it, and I cannot do it.
Well, I love the sentiment of, today is a day where I'm going to do something. Today is not the day where I'm not going to do nothing. I think that's really great. It's a great takeaway. On that note, I want to thank you both for being with us.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Evan.
My pleasure. I'd like to thank Will Sanchez and the Manhattan Neighborhood Network for hosting us. See you next time.
And I'm proud to represent Queens in the FootLocker 5-Borough Challenge.
My name is Untitled. I'm representing the Bronx.
My name is Stephanie Frischilla, representing Staten Island.
I'm Stephen Andrews, representing the borough of Brooklyn.
I'm Pamela Passarello, representing Magical Manhattan.
And I run because it helps me maintain my weight and also gives me sanity.
And I run to cope with the loss of my sister.
To keep my mind and body strong.
To support a healthy lifestyle.
To show others that running is not just physical, it is also mental. See you on race day, everybody.